Hello, I'm Bret and you're watching The Defining Moment for Creating the Culture of Conscience. Our guest today is Nehdar. Nat is the Human Relations Commissioner for the city of Pasadena, California, where he has served for the past 9 years. Nat also has 40 years' experience as a motivational speaker. Our guest was born in Iran and has lived in the United States for the last 54 years. He has a bachelor's degree in liberal arts and a master's degree in finance from the University of Washington in Seattle. Nat has 3 children and 5 grandchildren. Nat, Nehdar, welcome back to The Defining Moment. It's my pleasure to have you back again in our studio.
It's a pleasure to be on your show, Bret.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Our topic today is conflict resolution and eliminating resentment. I'd like to begin by asking you to share a defining moment from your own life which inspired you to become involved in working to improve human relations.
Be my pleasure, Bret. When I came to the United States, I first went to New York, then went to Long Island to begin my educational journey in this country. About a year and a half later, I left to come to California to see the movie stars and also go to school.
All right.
The Greyhound bus stopped in Texas, and we had approximately an hour to rest and then continue our journey once again. I went to a fountain to drink some water. As I was bending over drinking water, I saw shadows of some people hovering over me. And I looked up, there were several Texans, and at that time I really did not know who Texans were.
Okay.
But I remember now they were wearing hats and boots.
Dressed like cowboys.
Just like cowboys. And they started calling me some dirty names. And I was kind of confused as to why they were calling me names. And they said, "You are not supposed to be drinking from this fountain. This fountain belongs to colored people." And not knowing again what they were talking about, the bus driver intervened and pulled me away from the scene. And he began to tell me what was going on in this country. That was in 1952. And I was kind of shocked as to what he was saying to me, because I was born in a family that I was blessed when my parents never taught us about the color of a human being, never about judging someone based on that or any other factor, except trying to do your very best to get along with people as best you could.
Yes.
So that was really a defining moment in my life that directed me to work with the human race to overcome some of the obstacles that were existing at that time. And I've devoted my entire life working with people in that area. And I'm privileged with God's blessing to tell you that in many ways I have touched many people's lives for their own betterment and understanding that we are not created to come on this earth to judge each other based on the color of skin. We are here to go through a journey for a time that God has allowed us to make the best of it and hopefully to get along in the best way we can possibly.
Yeah, beautifully said. Thank you so much for sharing your defining.
My pleasure.
I appreciate that a lot. What have you discovered about the source of human conflict? What's the source of human conflict?
Conflict really begins through history. History is wonderful for us to know, to learn about, to expand on, but at the same time we must learn from history the bad things, the negative things, the sorrows, the tears that were shed, the human loss, the sufferings. And if you understand that, you understand the conflict that exists today regarding hate, prejudice, discrimination, violence must stop. We must take a stand. And we cannot only think of ourselves by saying, well, if I exclude myself, and kind of confine myself in a secure place, I'm safe. No one is safe, Bret, with what's going on in this world today. The problem that exists today, too many people have too much of something, and much more have not as much as they should.
Or nothing.
Nothing at all. And I'm not trying to deny people a wealth, not at all.
Right.
But it's too much is kept in few people, which really is a majority. Of the 7 billion people throughout this world, Bret, today, 2.4 billion children, every night they go to bed without food. They're starving. There are about almost close to another 3 billion people in this world in poverty. There are so many illnesses, diseases going on. And there are the few percentage that it's a big percentage when you multiply by billions who have too much. And my philosophy has been, how many beds can you sleep at one time?
Yes.
How many dishes can you eat from one time?
That's right.
How many cars can you drive at the same time? How many houses can you live at the same time? And this is what the problem is too much wealth, too much commodity, too much assets. It's shared on one side, and majority are suffering.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of people do help through charity. Yes, a lot of people do things, but all we have to look at the fact. Look at the fact there are over 20 million people in Africa with AIDS. In Darfur, there are 2 million people living in a desert without food, shelter, medicine. Pharmaceutical companies today, they know they can truly help a whole nation with their drugs. The 8 pills does not cost them that much money. It doesn't cost them that much money. Wouldn't it be wonderful to be able to say, yes, I am well off with God's blessing, but I can help another human being's life. There's nothing greater to save someone's life if you are able to do so.
That's right.
And that's what the conflict exists in this society today.
Okay, very clear. Thank you. What are the most effective guiding principles for intervening in a conflict situation to bring about the best possible outcomes for everyone involved?
Well, when a conflict takes place, usually is between 2 people. There was something happened that was not satisfactory or from unknown factor between these 2 people.
Yeah.
Or groups of people.
Exactly.
If a mediator comes in, that individual should be unbiased, should be in the middle, should have some background, some knowledge, and listen to both sides. Ask each one to expand again what happened. What did it do to them emotionally, mentally, and physically and spiritually? Because quite often a hurt goes deeper than the surface.
So not just take in the external factors, but get a full picture of what happened.
Yes, because if you have a conflict with someone, it is emotional. Sometimes it could be physical, but most likely it's emotional that has affected you, and your emotions is reacting, is talking, and wants to get resolved, wants to be healed.
Yes.
And once that individual has listened to both sides, try to make some suggestions. And at the conclusion, he or she, as a mediator, must make sure that both face each other, have understood each other, are satisfied, and have an alternative way to pursue, and shake hands or even hug each other to live in peace. If it cannot be resolved, all you can do your very best and tell the 2 individuals if they're not able to resolve their obstacle, their problems, it will continue, and God forbid, sometime, somewhere, instead of emotional, could become physical, and God forbid, could be more violent. So I hope that people become more understanding when someone truly is there to help them.
Yeah, okay, very insightful. Thank you. You mentioned the work of being an effective mediator. What are some of the other secrets of being an effective mediator?
You yourself have to be a true human being. You must be the one that do not truly have prejudices that you practice or discrimination, or you're not a violent person. You're a calm person, hopefully some education, but more importantly, common sense. Common sense. Because most people know what they do is wrong, or they know what they do is right.
Or they know what they've done to offend the other person.
Very true.
And the mediator's job is, in a sense, to allow the person to take responsibility for that.
Yes, and it's important to take responsibility, because if you don't take responsibility, it's just going through a process of time. It's going through a process of emotion.
So you may think that time helps, but actually the thing just kind of stays stuck.
It stays with you.
Yeah.
You must resolve it. You must resolve it. And the sooner you resolve it, the sooner you become peace within yourself. You set aside resentment. You set aside negative thoughts. You start having a brighter outlook toward the society, toward the individual.
Very clear. Okay. Once tensions in a conflict have subsided, what else needs to be done as a follow-up to that?
It's just like therapy, Bret. Some people are able to truly understand and make a commitment to themselves that I'm healed in some ways or in majority of ways, and pursue to practice and interact the right things. And some people require ongoing therapy. Therefore, these programs should continue to the extent not only is a learning process, a sharing process, but at the same time is a healing process.
Yes.
Whereas as the programs continue, the people who were conflicted to begin with, they'll find out more about each other's character. They find out a lot of common grounds. They might even become good friends. And from there, they can make a commitment to heal other people, to get involved in other people's problems if they're asked to. And they also are aware of what to do at the right time and what not to do at the wrong time.
So you place a high value on healing.
Very important, because to be healing someone, you have to be healed yourself. You have to feel good about yourself. You have to be at peace with yourself. You have to be really honest, sincere with yourself. You have to be dedicated. You're not there to gain anything. If you have that in your mind, by gaining, by making a point, it's not going to work out. You're there as a listener.
To facilitate.
To facilitate, to heal. Most people really like to be listened to. They have something they want to get off their chest. They want to talk. So be a good listener. And you'll be surprised if you allow a person talk extensively, that individual will solve their own problem to a great extent. But many people are not good listeners. They like to get their point across. They like to make a point. They like to expand. They like to be the leader, the head honcho. They like to feel good that they have something to say, and they want you to listen.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, very interesting. What is it about the nature of resentment that many people fail to recognize?
Resentment is a hurt that you have caused someone. And once again, is a healing process that individual must find within himself or herself. And if someone has caused you resentment, has caused you hurt, the best thing would be really to forgive that individual. And forgiveness is something that by forgiving, you are saying, I am going to be forgetting. I am at peace with myself. I'm not going to hold any more resentment. I'm willing even to see the person again, to talk to that person, to shake hands with her. Now, if the person, for example, does not come to you and apologize to you, you can still go up to the person and say, I expect an apologies, but I do forgive you because I am a person that I do forgive. And by saying that, you have shown that person what they did was wrong. And hopefully that person will learn from your interaction of forgiveness to become a better person and find out what they did was wrong, what they did was hurtful. There's nothing even wrong by telling the person, what you did to me or what you said to me, this is what affected me. Express your feeling. Let the person know. Not just say, you did something to me that I resent. Maybe the person didn't know. Maybe it's their style, the way they talk, the way they behave.
Yes.
But let them know in a proper, perspective way so they know what you did. Because quite often people say, well, word doesn't hurt. Action speaks louder. I don't agree with that. I think words do hurt. There are a lot of people in this world that receive words like an action and becomes deep-rooted seed for many years of their lives.
Yes.
And they cannot overcome that unless they face that. Try to overcome that through communication, therapy, or any other means.
Now, many times people hold on to their resentments, thinking that by doing so, they're punishing the other person because they're, in a sense, withholding their friendship from that person, right?
Right.
But what's the truth about holding on to resentment?
It hurts you more than the other. It's like a cancer. To get rid of it, you have to know you have cancer. You have to seek treatment. You have to seek help. You have to seek whatever source and means. And you also need the power energy. I really believe many of us can heal ourselves, not only emotionally, physically, resentment-wise, through the process of energy. If you're a very energized person, you have sufficient energy, you are able to cope with that, understand and say, it was something was done, and hopefully it was not done out of malice. I will forgive that person. That is a very important point we must bear in mind, the forgiveness.
The power of forgiveness.
Yes, to me the power of forgiveness is the power of healing. The power of resentment, that again, it's a very devastating to a lot of people. So you can challenge that, you can keep it inside, but the person who gets hurt the most is you.
So what if you're a Christian, I think it's very common to understand the value of forgiveness because that's what Jesus taught.
Right.
But what other basis, in philosophically speaking, can we understand, why forgiveness is such a great virtue and why it's so powerful in our lives?
We have seen through serving, through forgiving, wonderful things come out of it.
Yes.
We also have seen that resentment, when it's held, brings destruction. All we have to look in Middle East today. Let's look at Iran today.
Yeah.
Look at Iraq today.
Yeah.
You never saw before Shiite against Sunnis fighting. You never saw that. But now, because could it be resentment? Could it be hostility? Could it be power struggle? Is lack of forgiveness. Forgiveness. And I believe Jesus Christ taught the world forgiveness is divine. Serving is the key to humanity. And if people would really do it, try it just one time,
Yeah.
you see that it really works.
Well, people are afraid to take that step. They fear they're going to lose something if they just offer unconditional forgiveness.
Yes, they don't want to open up. That's why we talk about unconditional love. It's just you want to share your inner love with someone.
Well, you're talking about vulnerability.
Vulnerability too.
So
People,
tell us about vulnerability.
yeah, well, people have the so-called a facade, a curtain that they feel if they cross, they're open, they're naked.
Yeah, exposed.
Exposed, and people are going to take advantage of them.
Yes.
But if you feel good about yourself, if you have self-confidence, if you have wonderful values to share, open up and share. If you have energy, give it to people that really need it. I know that a lot of cultures, they do not hug. They feel that karma is going to be taken away from you. The energy is going to be taken away from you. That's why they bow to each other.
I see.
I'm just the opposite. I hug a lot of Oriental people who otherwise will not hug. And once they have received my hug, Bret, they cannot wait to receive me again for hug.
Okay.
And they will not let me go.
Yeah.
Because I am open to people.
And that's an expression of vulnerability.
Vulnerability,
Itself. Yeah.
yes. I don't feel I'm vulnerable. I'm not feel I'm open. I don't have to hide behind a curtain.
It's just for you a natural way of life because that's what you've set those parameters.
That's how I was raised.
Uh-huh.
But how can we heal the world's wounds if we are not open? If we cannot share our feelings, if we cannot give each other a hug, if we cannot exchange energies, how else?
Yeah.
If everybody kept to themselves, you can see what the world has been in many areas.
Sure. Isolation.
Isolation.
Okay, very clear. Nat, I think all of us as human beings desire to live in a peaceful world, a world of harmony and goodness, friendship and love. How can we as individuals create that kind of reality in our own lives and extend it out to the community and the nations in which we live?
It starts with each individual, Bret, as to who we are, what do we want in this world. And if you're blessed to have a family, what is the best thing you want for your family? And if you have children, what is the best thing you want for your children and their future? Because life does not just stand still. Time does not stand still. We are always moving. We are always in a journey. Therefore, we must do something, each and every one of us, to do something for peace, for harmony, to bring people together in any way we can. If you just take it from standpoint of is a verbalization, it's just a word, nothing can happen. We must make sure the word becomes an action and a reaction. And this, to me, started in my family when I was young, whereas my father and mother and family really set the tone. There was no prejudice talk in the family. There was no discrimination. There was no hate. There was no violence. There was no disrespect toward another human being's religion, belief, or color. When I came to this country, that's when I found out that people judge each other based on a color and so forth. So I have dedicated my life to working with people, Bret, to make sure they understand there's a better way for us to live. There's a better way to us communicate. There's a better way to set aside our differences. And quite often people do not just stand up today and say, I'm prejudiced, or I hate someone, or I discriminate. It's something that has happened in history through their ancestors, through their ways of being brought up. So what I try to do is try to expand on those things. What is prejudice? What does it do to you? What does it do to other people? What is hate? What is violence? And we see today in our society, even though we have gone through so many years of frustration, problems, overcoming these dilemmas, we are still faced with those things. Whereas we still are judging majority of people based on the color of skin. And we are denying the human race what it should be all about.
Yeah.
Instead of looking at life as we are truly all brothers and sisters, we are truly a family of the human race. I have dealt and have communicated with many pastors, rabbis, imams for the past 12 to 15 years. And I've always said, during your sermon, doesn't matter what day, either Friday with the Muslims, Saturday with the Jewish people, Sunday with the Christianity, please talk about other religion, other faith. Do not deny your members to just be secluded or excluded.
Yeah.
Make sure you say that we are all children of God. We are truly of the human race. Respect other people. Exchange your culture. Exchange your ways, your wonderful things. Every culture has so many beautiful things. Everything that we need to know about each other.
So to find innovative ways to allow more diversity to come into life.
Yes, yes.
And break down these artificial barriers of race, creed, religion.
Yes. And religion should be practiced every day. Should not be only one day a week.
Right.
Same thing with so many other holidays. It should not be just one day out of the year. It should be every day you practice that.
Yes.
If you practice that every day, then hopefully more people get involved. And again, with children, we start planting seeds with them. And then as they grow older, they understand the barriers should have been eliminated. That we are all working for one cause, and that's the human cause, the human peace that we're all trying to achieve.
How can people be more effective in living, practicing what they know to be the right thing to do, to live according to their conscience? How can people empower themselves to live that way?
Well, as long as they're not only thinking of themselves. Because quite often when you think of yourself and your family, in many cases they say, well, that's the way it should be. Well, it's okay, but do not deny what other people should also have in this world. Peace does not only start with you, it starts with everyone. Peace is for everyone. Harmony should be for everyone. You cannot only have peace and the rest of your neighbors be at war. It has to be universal. It has to be a language we should all talk about. Then we must put it into action through practice. And if you truly search within your heart and soul, you find out smile is better than anger. Saying hello to someone is better than slapping someone. Knowing your neighbor is better than not knowing the neighbor. Truly, you feel more secure. When you walk down your neighborhood, if you know anyone, you feel good. Your children feel good because you have created a community of harmony. And with that concept, practice at home, set example at home, and then with God's blessing, hopefully, we all are going to go out of our domain into the society and start showing. And if one family starts and another family joins the team and a third and a fourth and so forth, that's how it begins.
So it's something that's contagious in a very positive way.
Yes, love is contagious. Smile is contagious. Hugging is contagious. We don't do too many of those things with other people.
Yeah.
Again, we talked about before, there's a curtain that people put in front of themselves. They don't want to become open. They don't want to feel that they are who they are, because there's a lack of, to me, self-confidence.
Maybe self-knowing, really knowing your truth. People are sometimes afraid to find out who they really are.
That's very true also. We are very complex people.
Yeah.
Human race is a very complex race.
Human beings are
Human
complex.
beings as a whole, absolutely, absolutely. So we are here again for a short time. We only have really moments on this earth.
Yes.
And every breath we take, we are getting closer to our Maker. So why don't we take every breath in a positive way? Take a breath of joy. Take a breath of happiness. Share those moments with people, not only your loved ones, but other people, with love, with fun, with laughter, with justice, equality.
So to know that even though we are complex human beings, that at the core of our being, there's something that comes from God. There's
Yes.
something divine
Yes.
within each person.
I think
And we can kind of, in a sense, have confidence in that.
absolutely. Even if you don't believe in God, it's your prerogative. I mean, everyone should be their own judge. They should think what they want to do. But I believe we all know that there is a creator. There is someone beyond us. There is a power. That's why we pray. That's why we hope. And with that concept, we have more common grounds than differences, Bret. We are the ones who create differences, separation. But if we search within our hearts and souls and say, my God, the person seated across me today is a human being. Is a human being.
Yeah.
A given name, but a human being.
Yes.
And the same thing, the crew who is here today filming this, they are people.
Yes.
Maybe with different backgrounds. Why not get to know about their backgrounds? Because they're truly my sisters and brothers. If you believe in a man and woman that was created, we are families.
Yes.
With that concept, you are more secure, you have more confidence. When you come across another person in your life, they're a family member.
So it's not just knowing that I believe in God and God loves me, but that from God's viewpoint, we're all one big family.
We sure are.
All 6.5 billion of us.
Yes, and God is in every one of us. And we are the ones actually are doing the work of God. We are the ones in control.
We're in a sense kind of God's body. We're an extension of God's body.
We are here on a journey. We are here on a mission. And I believe if you find out at a young age what are your attributes, what are you here for, what you can do to help the society, the community, then you become a better person. You become at peace with yourself. You become happier with yourself. A lot of people go through a whole lifetime, Bret. They don't even know what their mission is in this world. They say, what have I done with my life? What was I brought into this world for? And that's why it becomes loneliness in many people's lives. They become very lonely.
Yes.
Because they have no challenge. They have
feel
no
emptiness.
Emptiness. They have no direction because they have not looked within. You must first look within to see who you are.
And sometimes you need the help of others to be able to do that introspection, right?
Absolutely. It should be no shame to ask someone, I need help. There's nothing to ask someone, I'm lost. Please guide me. Don't stand on ceremonial ground because human beings, majority, do really want to help, but ask for the help.
And know where to look to find good advice.
Yes.
Okay, well, Nat, with that note, we've come to the end of our interview today. I want to thank you so much for being our guest today. I really appreciate your insights and your wisdom and really sharing from your heart.
It was a pleasure for me to be on your show.
I really appreciate it. You've been watching The Defining Moment for Creating the Culture of Conscience. You can find us on the internet at www.definingmoment.tv. Thanks for watching and have a great day.